man did for you that made you realize that you've been accepting way too little from men?
So I made a Tinder account. It happens. So I ended up meeting this guy, and the first night I kind of just ignored him, but the second night I was like, okay, we can go out to eat. Dinner was a little awkward because it was really loud and I couldn't hear him in the Cheesecake Factory. So the next day we went out to breakfast. He was opening car doors, paying for the tab, just a real nice gentleman. So for the next, every single weekend for the next month, he drove 3 hours to come visit me and then would go home. Mind you, I wasn't giving him any play. He was just coming to visit me, and I was still undecided if I wanted to keep talking to this guy or give this guy my full-blown attention. Well, he would call, he would text, he would communicate day and night, would never leave me hanging, never left me thinking like, what are we doing? He always made it very clear that he wanted me and that I was the prize.
I have a severe fish allergy, and if we're at a restaurant, he always tells the waiter or waitress so I don't have to, because he knows I feel really annoying when I do. When I stay at his place and I have work, he always wakes up to make me coffee, even if he doesn't want any. If we're going to any event or any concert, he always buys 2 tickets just in case I want to go. If I have really severe cramps, which happens quite often, the man runs a bath, lights a candle, and leaves me alone. The room always has flowers in it from him. He always brings me flowers just cause, like, not for any reason. He loves taking pictures with me and of me and has never complained once. My favorite thing about him is that he communicates. And if he happens to stumble upon a book about attachment styles or love languages, he's like, let's read this together so we can get to know each other better, even though it's been 2 years. Also, a man goes to therapy for his own well-being. Chef's kiss.
I just moved to Virginia. I was working a job in DC and I was dating. And I was talking to this guy. I was just talking face. We were not really like dating. And I shared a story about how I never made it to prom. Got dressed, had a date, wore the similar colors, pulled up, and this guy had a panic attack out of anxiety about how many people were there in the parking lot. We never made it in. And so I was just like, man, yeah, that's just one thing I just never experienced. Months later, he brings me to a prom, or a redo of a prom. He got his tickets to the Black Ball in DC, picked me up from my house, had little flowers, dinner. Like, it was phenomenal. And you know, like when you're dating, you share a lot of stories and you just don't think some things stick. That stuck. You best believe I married his ass.
I've been with my fiance since I was 15. I'm 22 now, and we got engaged in May. Here are some of the things he does that made me want to marry him. I used to drive an old 2002 Hyundai Santa Fe with no heating, no air, and no music, and he would let me drive his car to work, and he would take mine to his work so that I could listen to music and have air conditioning, since my drive was 2 minutes longer. When we go to a restaurant, he asks me what my top 2 choices are of entrees, and whatever I don't order, he orders, so that if I don't like my meal, he can switch around. If I tell him I'm having a bad day, he comes home from work with either flowers, ingredients for him to make me a meal, or some sort of gift. Right now he works 9 to 5 and I'm finishing up my last year of college, so I'm bearing a lot of the housework. But anytime that he comes home and he sees that I've cleaned something, he points to it and he said, "Thank you for doing that." I teach spin classes, and for about a year he was the only guy at any of my spin classes, but he would show up every single time so that when I looked into the bikes, I would have someone I could make eye contact with and feel more confident in my teaching. Drake doesn't like to drink and he doesn't like to go out, so anytime that I go out, he drops me off and picks me up without complaint and without any sort of jealousy. Now, like I said, we've been dating since I was 15, so I set these expectations when I was young of the way I wanted to be treated, and he has always met and exceeded them. So if you think your standards are too high, you're just looking in the wrong places. There are people out there that want to meet and exceed that standard and love you in a way that you could have never imagined.
I was casually dating a man one time, just seeing him, and I had a bronchitis, something like that. I don't fucking remember. I had a cold. The motherfucker brought me an entire care package one day. Cough drops, tea, Benadryl, the whole fucking 9 yards. And literally just came by and dropped it off. I got too drunk at a bar one time, like an hour away from my home, was texting this guy to come get me. He ended up driving an hour to come get me, took me to breakfast at 4 a.m. and then took me home and dropped me off. And that was it. I once had a man who made like $300 a month give me $100 to get my nails done. Literally because I was like, I just want really nice nails and I only have like $50. So he literally gave me $100. This one guy that I seriously dated, this was when I used to work night shift at my old job. He lived an hour away, and he used to get me food from the city and then drive it to my job and drop it off to me at work, like at 10 or 11 o'clock. And then he would drive back after he had worked all day at his like 9 to 5 job. Dated a guy for a while that anytime he would leave my house, he would take the fucking trash out with him and then proceed to take it to the street. Just literally because he didn't want me to have to take the trash out. I have gone out on dates with guys who have never made me touch a door handle, ever. Not the car door handle, not the restaurant door handle, not one of them. I had a man one time at the end of a date offer to take my car to fill up my gas tank.
Had never slept together or anything like that. Around this time, I did not have a vehicle, and I also had a toddler at the time. Plus, I was working and my toddler was going to daycare. Well, this man, mind you, worked third shift, so he went into work late at night, got off work early in the morning. Now, mind you, this man voluntarily, consistently, every single day, made it his business when he got off work at 6 o'clock in the morning. He would come to my house, park outside my house, sleep in the car or nap or whatever for about 2 hours or so, because my son and I didn't have to necessarily start getting up and getting ready till about 8 something. So he would wait in the car for about 2 hours or so until we got ready. He would make it his business every day to take me to drop my son off at daycare, drop me off at work. Every single day that evening, he would make sure that he got up in time to be ready so that he can pick me up from work, take me to go and get my son from daycare and drop us off at the house before he had to be back to work that particular evening. This man did this consistently. Some days, y'all, he would even have breakfast. He would stop and go get McDonald's, Burger King, or something really quick just to bring us as well to eat in the morning. Mind you, I never had X for that. This showed me right there that if a man wanted to, he would. If a man wanted to move mountains for a woman, he would. This showed me right here that if a man is truly pursuing a woman, he's going to find a way to be resourceful to you. My uncle used to always tell me, baby, get you a man that's going to do something for you before he does something to you. This showed me also that a man is never too busy. It's simple as that. If he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to go out his way for that woman, he would. Mind you, we had never been sexually active, never really considered ourselves dating or anything. We were just talking and everything. He was a nice guy. We developed a nice friendship or whatever over the time, but this man would make it his business to do whatever he needed to do for me for about a month and a half until I got my vehicle. This is what showed me that if a man wanted to, ladies, he definitely would. Like my uncle said, get you a man that's resourceful to you. Get you a man that's going to do something for you before he tries to do something to you.
Story time. There was this guy that I was dating for 2 years with the hope that eventually we would get married. We were having a conversation and I said, are you trying to date leading towards marriage? And this guy said, and I quote, I'm not trying to get married until 8 years from now. I was 24 at the time, so 8 and 24, you do the math. This guy right here, this guy right here, he proposed within 3 months of dating. We've been married for 5 years. And he constantly makes time, no matter how dog tired he is. He goes out of his way to ensure that me and our family are taken care of, even if he has to use the last dime in his pocket. When a man is really invested in you, he's gonna reach the bar and exceed it, period. And that's when Mary had a little lamb.
The real kicker was this, and let me tell you why. I will explain the situation and I'll tell you why afterwards. My birthday, March this year, mid-lockdown, nowhere to go, nothing to do, just staying at home, couple measly cake, presents, happy birthday, probably get a couple calls, FaceTimes, whatnot. That's about it. That's all I'm getting this year. He offers to order me food. I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I want. He then asks me, what does your mum and your sister want? What does your family want to eat? I'll order them food as well. See, now, the reason why that's the kicker is because I've had men in the past, right? If I'm being honest, the way I've been treated by men in the past has not been as bad as how other women's situations have been. Like, they will support me, respect me, care for me, do what they need to do for me. But the reason why this one was the kicker was that this man respected me, cared for me, loved me so much that he was willing to extend that same level of energy to people that I'm attached to. So to my family, to extensions of me. Like, it's all good and well, you're supporting, you're caring, you're loving me. But the fact that you respect me and you love me so much so that you're willing to extend that level of help and grace to my family to make sure that they eat. They would have eaten regardless, but that just put
the cherry on top for me. I'm so sorry. That's a real man right there.
So imagine you are at the beginning of a relationship, everything is going well and fine, but at some point your girlfriend tells you that she might be asexual. So I'm telling me, like, boo, there's a high probability that you will never ever receive sex from me, like, ever. That's when, for the first time in my life, a man has looked at me dead in the eyes and has told me that he values me for who I am, not for what I can offer to him. And in that moment, ladies and gentlemen, I understood. I have never been loved. I have never been loved by a man. They loved what I could give to them, but me as a person? Nah. Like, he values me for my hard work, for my perseverance, for the skills that I have, for my mentality. What? I mean, I didn't know that this is possible, because what? And the ironic part is that I am not asexual. It was just trauma caused by man.
I've been trying to film this video and it's so shaky and I keep crying. So I've tried to compose myself and here we are. So I realized that I was expecting too little from my past relationships when I met my now husband. To preface this story, both of my older sisters passed away. Nope, definitely gonna cry again. And all of my relationships after they had passed had not really like acknowledged them. It was kind of like, I'm so sorry for your loss, but like now you're an only child and that's it. So when I met my husband, we weren't even engaged yet. We like kind of were still newly dating. And he was like, I have a paint night at my work. Would you want to come with me? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, like that would be really fun. So we were at the paint night and we were trying to figure out what to paint. And he just looked me dead in the eyes and he was like, why don't we paint something for the girls, which is my sisters. He calls them the girls. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, like, what do you want to paint? He was like, well, why don't we paint Breathe Easy? Which is like they had cystic fibrosis and that's like the slogan for CF. And I was like, my heart just like, I was like, oh, I'm marrying this man. Like, that's it. And so we did. And I'll insert a picture at the end. But ever since, he has talked about my sisters like he knew them. Like literally was best friends with them. I will tell him a story and he'll be like, oh, Ash was so annoying, or like just like Lindsay was so funny. Just constantly brings them up, constantly talks about them like that they're still here. And that's when I realized, like, someone that loves you will care about the things that you care about just as much as you care about them. So just remember that.